Hello and welcome to the podcast. The Shift Happens, and I'm your podcast host, Dr. Divi. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a while, and I'm planning on getting back onto a few more podcasts, so thank you. Whenever I release a podcast, I always remind people about what's happening in my life, what's happening in my business. My name is Dr. Divi. I'm a family doctor turned intuitive spiritual teacher. I have huge passion for the work I do. Help women and men shift out of their fear, their pain, their stories into more joy. Classic client comes to me with health issues or relationship issues, sometimes even money issues, because they know that on an intuitive spiritual level that they can heal and shift things. And I'm the in-between, working with my intuition, understanding of spiritual laws. I teach many groups and I invite you to any single one of them. A few of them are full, but predominantly my focus has been on group coaching. So I teach 3 containers right now, one on Mondays here in Vancouver at 6 p.m. and 2 on Zoom on Tuesdays at 12 and Tuesdays at 5. The one at 5 o'clock on Tuesday is currently full, but check in when you listen to this. There might have been a spot open. Lastly, I also teach one-day workshops and half-day workshops, both in person and on Zoom. So today's podcast is actually leading up to a workshop I've got coming up on July 18th and 19th on weight. The beautiful things about my one-day and half-day workshops is they're like introductory, intermediate event level, and they're really helping to give people a sense of what I do. So the price point is very low. For in-person, it's around 100, 150 bucks, or you can pay more if you want. And then online, it's 50 bucks or more and pay more if you want. So it's contribution-based, all working towards the Divine Mother Retreat Center. So thank you again for donating with contributing generously. It always helps. So let's dive into today's topic, weight and the emotional causes. So you're listening to somebody, Dr. Divi, I won't tell you how old I am, but in my teens and 20s, I was overweight. I was about a size 16 to 18. If you've ever seen my body frame, I'm a tiny person. And I didn't realize I was overweight. I kind of knew it, kind of didn't. Was in first year medical school, and when people would walk up the stairs, I would be huffing and puffing to do it. I grew up in a family where we stressed academics and achievement, and exercise and fitness was not something we talked about. So growing up in an Indian family as well, we ate a lot of Indian food, which was yummy, but heavy on the calories and heavy on the grease. So it shouldn't shock anybody that here I was in my early 20s, pretty overweight. So I started the standard things of exercise and calorie restriction, and a lot of us can relate to that. I went to the gym 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week. My favorite was the Stairmaster back in the days. Then you don't know this, but I became an aerobics teacher. I did that for about 6 or 7 years, paid for my drinking habits through medical school. That was the joke I always make. And I lost the weight, and I calorie restricted like crazy. A terrible Diet Coke addiction. And when I say terrible, I mean a terrible Diet Coke addiction. And I ate very little food. And I think a lot of us have been on that hamster wheel before. Yeah, I lost the weight. I was down to a size 6, from a size 16, 18 down to a size 6. It worked. And I was tiny. And but then I was forced to exercise a lot. I was very restrictive with my food. And it was not a pretty picture. I was always obsessed with how I looked in the mirror. I was, I think a lot of us can relate to this. Anyways, I then stumbled into, like many people know, got entered into triathlons, developed chronic pain, and I didn't realize that the chronic pain was actually emotional. Stumbled into yoga, and it's only when I started that journey mentally and emotionally that I was actually able to release the emotional roots of my weight. And now I don't worry about my weight. Now I exercise still 4, 5, 6 days a week, but more from a place of joy and my body feeling better than calorie restriction. And I totally don't calorie restrict. I eat pretty much whatever I want. And my body is pretty much in the same health and shape that it was back then, with a healthier mental attitude. So I've been there, done it, wrote the book on this one. So, and having now going through menopause, I'm like, okay, my body's changed a bit, but perfect. So in today's podcast, we'll be talking about the emotional roots of pain and how to work on that. So again, if this is the first time or the 1,000th time you've heard me speak, I always talk about 2 parts of us, the spirit and the ego. Reminder, the ego is not a bad part of us. It's only the part of us that is in fear. That's it. That's it. So spirit is the part of us that is only in love. And they say that the mind of spirit only holds love. And that's what we're going to emphasize today. If you only thought thoughts of love, then it would be impossible for you to think there's something wrong with your body or something wrong with you. If you only thought thoughts of love, you know your body is simply a reflection of your mental state. If you only thought thoughts of love, your body would naturally acclimatize to exactly the body weight it's meant to be. Each of us are different. But because you have thoughts of fear, the ego thought system, again, not wrong, often patterned from childhood, the nervous system holds on to fear, anger, shame, jealousy, and guilt. And these are the most common emotions that keep the weight on. So again, I'm going to repeat them. Fear, anger, guilt, shame, jealousy, and so many more. So we need to first recognize that the ego just loves that. The second step when it comes to understanding how to work with our body weight is to understand one of the favorite things the ego loves more than anything is the concept of victim and the concept of blame. As soon as something quote unquote wrong happens in our lives, before we even think about it, we're blaming somebody. It's like a knee jerk. Whoop! Somebody cut me off the traffic, it's their fault. We do it all day, every day. And then where's that thought going to go? It's going to go right to our body. I'm a victim to this body. I'm a victim to what I eat. I have to go exercise like a fiend. I have to control my body to make it what I want to be. The victim blame cycle keeps that shame, guilt, anger, fear perpetuating. And then we just hold on to the weight. And because this is now, if I keep going, we're going to be here for 3 hours. I invite you to come to any of those 2 workshops, or you cannot get the recording, just email me. I can tell you if you're watching this after, I can tell you where to get that recording. But what I want you to understand is until you actually start to heal the victim, fear, anger, guilt, jealousy, resentment, shame, that weight will stay on because it's the ego's favorite thing to keep you in victim and in blame. And in that 3-hour Zoom call or that full day workshop, which is July 18th is a full day, July 19th is a half day on Zoom, 2 separate workshops, 2 identical workshops, one in person, one's online. That's what I'm going to teach you how to do with that. Okay, again, if you're watching this late, just send my team an email. We'll get you the recording. So the first step is to recognize, again, going back, the first step is to recognize there's spirit and there's ego. If I can pinpoint my mind in love, my body will respond. Second point to remember, the ego loves fear, anger, shame, guilt, and it's looking for a place to land it. It's going to go to the body. The third point to recognize, the ego thought system is going to keep me in the victim blame cycle, and notice how much I do it. I blame that person. I blame that person. This is wrong. That is wrong. So as soon as I do that, I'm keeping my body as an identification. The fourth step is to realize this is just so, spiritual, metaphysical. I'm not my body. Yeah, right, Divi. This step is about noticing that you're the observer of your life. So I always try to teach, if you can close your eyes for a second and notice your mind wherever you think your mind is, and take a part of that mind outside of you and look at yourself. Maybe that part of you is a foot away. And I want you to, some of you will see, others of you will know how your body language is, what you look like, what you're wearing. And just breathe. Good. This is called the observer. Perfect. The more you can observe, the more you shift the minds from the ego to spirit. The next step I want to teach you is that we have a choice with every thought we have, and we have a choice as to how we perceive ourselves. So the exercise I commonly teach is called mirror work. And if you come to one of those 2 workshops, we'll be teaching it. So just to give you an idea of mirror work. Mirror work is having a mirror in front of you, not a camera, but a natural mirror, and looking at yourself and saying thoughts of spirit to yourself out loud. You're beautiful. You're amazing. You're doing a great job. And the more you allow those spirit thoughts to come, the more you're planting the mind with those thoughts. The other exercise I will teach during those 2 workshops is the idea of how we eat. We often eat emotionally as opposed to in the moment. So emotional eating is a way to cover the food, the emotions of shame, fear, anger, guilt, and resentment, jealousy. But when you learn how to mindfully eat, which is what I'll teach you in those workshops, your relationship with food actually changes. You'll know when your body is full. You'll get stiller and quieter. You'll become much more aware of your body's sensation. So instead of feeding an emotion that keeps the weight on, when you're mindfully eating, which I'll teach you how to do, it changes your relationship with your body. Lastly, exercise. Exercise is something that you want to start to realize is just part of being a human body. You want the blood to pump. You want the chemicals of the endorphins in your brain. You want to feel better. So rather than forcing yourself to go to the gym or go to workout or go to yoga from a place that you're bad, what if you do it purely from the pleasure seeking? I'm going to exercise for gratitude that my body can move, even if it's simply a walk around the block, simply a walk to the park. Or could you go to the gym and do a weights work? I don't care what you do. Rather than doing it from shame and guilt, what if you did it from love and gratitude and joy? These simple steps I've taught you in this podcast will change your instant relationship with weight. And if you're ready to go further, join me on July 18th or 19th. The link is on my website. I would love to have you. Now let's dive into the emotional root cause of weight. Let's close our eyes for a second and take a breath. That was a lot of information. So I welcome you to take one or two things with you today. Maybe today I will simply think thoughts of love. And then I will watch my nervous system relax, my digestion relax, my ability to process foods will change, and my relationship with my body will change. Take that in. Thank you so much for being with me. A couple of requests as we wrap this podcast up. Can you please share this podcast? That would really help. Can you leave a comment if you're watching this on YouTube or my podcast channel? That helps grow it. And lastly, can you give me a good rating on my podcast? That would help a lot too. We're trying to grow this thing. Sending you lots of love. Have the most beautiful day.